The forgotten Spanish courtyard idea that makes a rustic home feel like a sanctuary. Welcome to Miko House, your cozy corner for all things home design, inspiration, and architecture. Today, I want to invite you to rediscover a design idea that I think is both timeless and somewhat forgotten: the Spanish courtyard. You might be surprised by just how transformative this concept can be, especially when it comes to turning a rustic house into a true sanctuary. There's something almost magical about stepping into a home and finding an unexpected oasis at its heart.
Get inspired instantly. Explore world-class architecture in a bigger, immersive view. Free magazine space. Read and download.
Get Archimags on the App Store now.
I'm fascinated by the Spanish courtyard because I think it represents one of those architectural ideas that never really goes out of fashion, even when we stop talking about it. My opinion is that placing an outdoor space at the center of a rustic home can completely change how the house feels and functions. I love the idea of discovering a peaceful garden where you least expect it, almost like finding a private sanctuary hidden within the architecture. In my experience, the essence of the Spanish courtyard lies in its ability to blur the boundaries between indoors and out. Unlike most modern layouts, which often push outdoor spaces to the periphery, this idea pulls nature right into the center of the home. What I love about this is how it changes the flow and energy of the space. Suddenly, every room feels connected not just to each other, but to the living, breathing world outside. There's a quiet intimacy in this arrangement that I rarely find in other architectural traditions. I've always been drawn to designs that make the boundary between indoors and outdoors feel less obvious. My opinion is that the Spanish courtyard achieves this more naturally than many contemporary layouts because the garden becomes part of the home rather than something pushed behind it. I think this arrangement creates a stronger connection between rooms, light, plants, and everyday life, giving the entire house a more intimate atmosphere. One thing I've noticed is that many people assume courtyards are only practical in warm climates. But surprisingly, with the right design choices, they can thrive almost anywhere. I've seen clever homeowners use sheltered walkways, potted evergreens, and even retractable glass to create courtyards that feel lush and inviting year-round. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes, what seems like a limitation is actually an opportunity for creativity. I think one of the most interesting things about courtyards is that they aren't necessarily limited to hot climates. My opinion is that thoughtful planning can make the concept work in a surprising range of environments. I like the idea of using sheltered passages, seasonal plants, glass enclosures, or flexible coverings to adapt the courtyard throughout the year. To me, that makes the courtyard less of a climate-specific feature and more of an architectural strategy. What sets the Spanish courtyard apart, in my opinion, is its focus on privacy and tranquility. Unlike open-plan gardens or exposed patios, these spaces are typically enclosed by the home itself, shielding you from street noise and prying eyes. I find that this creates a sense of retreat that's hard to match. It's as if you have your own secret world, right in the center of your daily life. I'm particularly attracted to the privacy that comes with a courtyard enclosed by the house itself. My opinion is that this creates a completely different experience from sitting in an exposed backyard or open patio. I love how the surrounding walls can block unwanted views and outside distractions, while still allowing sunlight and fresh air to enter, creating the feeling of having a secluded retreat right in the middle of the home. In rustic homes, especially, I think this idea shines brightest. There's a natural synergy between the textured, weathered materials of a rustic style and the organic life of a courtyard. Stone walls, terracotta tiles, and aged wood seem to come alive when paired with greenery, dappled sunlight, and the gentle sound of water. Whenever I walk into such a space, I feel an immediate sense of calm, as though the house itself is inviting me to slow down and breathe deeply. I think rustic architecture and Spanish courtyards have an almost natural relationship with each other. My opinion is that rough stone, terracotta, aged timber, and handcrafted surfaces become even more expressive when surrounded by greenery and natural light. I especially love the combination of textured walls, plants, soft shadows, and water because it gives the space an atmosphere that feels peaceful without looking overly polished. I've also found that courtyards encourage a different kind of living. Instead of rushing from one closed room to another, you're invited to pause, linger, and engage with your environment. Morning coffee becomes a ritual under the sky, and family gatherings feel more intimate when they spill out into a sheltered, sunlit courtyard. It's a lifestyle shift that, frankly, I wish more people would embrace. I've noticed that a courtyard can subtly change the pace of everyday living. My opinion is that it encourages people to spend more time outside without requiring a major transition from the house. I like the idea of having morning coffee surrounded by plants, sharing a meal outdoors, or simply sitting quietly for a few minutes. To me, these small rituals are one of the strongest reasons to design a home around a courtyard. There's a counterintuitive truth here. By enclosing a piece of the outdoors, you actually expand your sense of space. At first glance, dedicating valuable square footage to an open-air room might seem indulgent or even wasteful. But in my experience, it makes the whole home feel larger and more alive. Every window frames a view of something green and growing, and every hallway leads to light. I find it fascinating that creating an open-air space within the footprint of a house can actually make the entire property feel more spacious. My opinion is that the courtyard gives rooms something to look toward, allowing windows and doorways to capture light, greenery, and sky from multiple directions. I think that visual connection can make even a relatively modest home feel deeper and more expansive. course, not every courtyard needs to be grand or elaborate. I think the best ones are deeply personal, reflecting the tastes and needs of those who live there. Some favor lush plantings and dramatic fountains, while others prefer a minimalist approach with just a few sculptural elements. What matters is the feeling the space evokes, a sense of peace, comfort, and belonging that's unique to every home. I believe the most successful courtyards are the ones that reflect the personality of the people who use them. My opinion is that there is no single formula for creating the perfect courtyard. I might choose abundant greenery and a small fountain for one home, while another could benefit from simple paving, sculptural plants, and minimal furniture. For me, the important thing is creating an atmosphere that feels personal rather than following a predetermined style. I'm always fascinated by how courtyards can act as a canvas for creativity. Over the years, I've seen homeowners use them for meditation, outdoor dining, art studios, or even small herb gardens. The flexibility is astounding, and it's a testament to how enduring and adaptable this design idea can be. If you had a courtyard, how would you use it? I'm always impressed by how many different roles a courtyard can play. My opinion is that its greatest strength is its flexibility, because it can become almost anything the homeowner needs. I could imagine using one for outdoor dining, quiet reading, gardening, creative work, meditation, or simply doing nothing at all. I think that adaptability is one reason the concept has remained relevant for so long. It's also worth noting that the Spanish courtyard fosters a subtle social connection. While it's private, it's also a natural gathering point, drawing family and friends together in a way that feels organic and unforced. I think there's a certain warmth and generosity built into the very architecture, which is something I deeply admire. It's less about showing off and more about creating a place where people genuinely want to be. I've also come to appreciate the way a courtyard naturally brings people together. My opinion is that its enclosed character creates a comfortable social setting without making gatherings feel formal. Family members can move between the kitchen, living spaces, and garden naturally, while guests have a place to gather that still feels connected to the rest of the home. I think there is a quiet generosity built into this kind of architecture. One of my favorite things about this design is how it lets light play such a crucial role. The interplay of shadows, reflections, and sunbeams changes throughout the day, constantly refreshing the mood of the home. In my opinion, no artificial lighting can ever quite replicate the shifting beauty of real daylight filtering through leaves or dancing on water. I love the role that natural light plays in a courtyard throughout the day. My opinion is that the constantly changing combination of sunlight, foliage, shadows, and reflections gives the space a sense of movement that artificial lighting can never fully reproduce. I think the courtyard becomes almost like a living artwork, changing its appearance from morning through afternoon and into the evening. Comparing this to other outdoor spaces, I find that the Spanish courtyard offers a level of intimacy that open backyards or decks just can't match. There's a sense of containment and harmony here, a feeling that you're held by the architecture rather than exposed to the world. It's a subtle difference, but it makes all the difference in how you experience your home. I find that the Spanish courtyard offers something an open backyard often cannot, a stronger sense of intimacy. My opinion is that the surrounding architecture makes you feel protected rather than exposed. I like how the walls frame the sky and landscape while creating a sense of enclosure, almost as though the home itself is gently holding the outdoor space. I have to admit, I'm always surprised by how many people overlook this idea. Perhaps it seems old-fashioned, or maybe it just doesn't fit with the sleek lines of contemporary design. But in my view, that's exactly why it's worth revisiting. In a world that moves too fast and values open plans above all, a courtyard offers a quiet rebellion, a place to gather your thoughts and reconnect with what truly matters. I'm honestly surprised that courtyards aren't discussed more often in contemporary residential design. My opinion is that the concept may seem traditional, but that is exactly what makes it interesting today. I think modern homes can sometimes become so focused on openness and visual expansion that they forget the value of privacy, enclosure, and quiet. To me, the courtyard offers a beautiful alternative. Even the act of designing a courtyard can be transformative. Choosing plants, arranging seating, and selecting materials becomes an exercise in self-expression and mindfulness. I think the process itself is as rewarding as the finished space, teaching patience and attention to detail that spill over into other areas of life. It's a design journey I recommend to anyone looking for a deeper connection to their home. I've found that creating a courtyard can become almost as meaningful as living in one. My opinion is that selecting the plants, materials, furniture, textures, and lighting encourages you to think carefully about how you want to experience your home. I like that the process requires patience because a courtyard isn't something that needs to look perfect immediately. It can evolve naturally over time. What I love most is that Over time, a courtyard becomes a living memory book. The scent of jasmine on a summer evening, the laughter of loved ones echoing off the walls, the quiet moments of solitude, they all accumulate, layer by layer, until the space feels imbued with meaning. In my experience, that's the difference between a house and a sanctuary. I love the idea that a courtyard can gradually become part of a family's personal history. My opinion is that spaces like this gain character through repeated everyday experiences, morning routines, evening conversations, seasonal flowers, family celebrations, and quiet moments alone. I think those accumulated memories are what eventually transform a beautiful outdoor room into something much more meaningful, a genuine sanctuary. I'm convinced that the Spanish courtyard still has an important lesson for modern homes. My opinion is that great architecture isn't always about making spaces bigger, brighter, or more open. Sometimes it's about creating a place that feels protected, connected, and deeply personal. I think the courtyard offers exactly that, a quieter way of living where nature, architecture, and everyday life can exist together at the heart of the home. As I reflect on the enduring appeal of the Spanish courtyard, I'm convinced that this forgotten idea has a lot to teach us about creating homes that nurture and restore. Have you ever imagined what your own sanctuary might look like? If you enjoyed this journey through design, history, and inspiration, don't forget to subscribe to Miko House for more ideas that can help you turn your house into a true haven.